Greetings. We are so happy that you could join us for the December JW Broadcasting program. We are confident that the next hour will be spiritually refreshing for all of us. Brother Mark Numer is joining us today. Mark, what do we have coming up on the program?
We're certainly looking forward to what you have to say, Brother Splain. In addition to that, you will meet a brother who went from being a criminal to being a special agent for the government. He is now a longtime witness of Jehovah. What changed his life? Stay tuned to this channel. If a person is of little means, does this necessarily rob him of the joy of giving? We will have a video you will want to see and apply to your circumstances. How many of you have been to Germany? Join us on a trip there to visit one of the largest branches of Jehovah's Witnesses.
If you have seen our broadcast of the annual meeting that was held last October, you're aware of the fact that our songbook is being revised. Well, perhaps some of you missed that broadcast. So you may be wondering, why is it necessary to make changes to the songbook? Well, as we explained at the annual meeting, some of the expressions used in our current songbook were drawn from the earlier edition of the New World Translation. That translation has been revised, as you know. Instead of the desirable things of the nations, we now say the precious things of the nations. Instead of loving kindness, we use loyal love. Long-suffering is rendered patience, and so forth. Since some of the terminology used in the songbook had to be adjusted, the governing body decided to add a few songs as well, and we are very happy for that. Now, those in attendance at the annual meeting this year were invited to sing 3 new songs, and one of them was composed specially to mark the 100th anniversary of the establishment of the kingdom. If you weren't present at the annual meeting this year, don't worry. You'll get your chance to learn the new songs, and soon. And you won't have to wait until the new songbook is released either. From time to time, new songs will be released on our website for you to download. Not only that, but at times we will even conclude the service meeting by singing one of the new songs. Case in point, during the week of January 5th, an entire service meeting has been set aside to help us appreciate our kingdom songs. One of the new songs will be sung on that occasion. It's entitled, "The Kingdom is in Place, Let It Come." You guessed it, that's the song that was composed to mark the kingdom's 100th anniversary. Would you like to hear it? Please listen and watch.
Have been, and always you will be. You've given the throne to your Son. He rules by your decree. The kingdom has been brought to birth. His rulership will fill the earth. For now have come to pass salvation and kingdom and might. The kingdom is in place. We pray, let it come, let it come. The time for the devil is short.
What a majestic song of praise to Jehovah. Isn't that beautiful? But how can we prepare to sing that song as well as the others that will follow? We take you now to our studios in Paterson, New York, where our music choral arrangements are produced. We'd like to introduce you to brothers Ted Adams and Danny Baker, who have worked with our orchestra for years. And we also have with us Chris and Susan Maver, who both have a background in music. Ted, we're counting on you and your guests to help us prepare to sing the new songs.
Thank you, Brother Splain. Singing is an important, prominent feature of our worship. So we want to be able to face the challenges of singing in a congregation setting. There's a special challenge when we're learning a new song. What is that?
Well, I think learning a new song is like breaking in a new pair of shoes. At first, the new songs aren't as comfortable as the ones that we're used to singing. But after singing them for a while, exerting a little effort, well, these could become our most favorite songs to sing.
Now, some of us have a hard time learning new songs, but we have to remember that these new songs were composed for a good reason. It's actually a scriptural reason, isn't it?
That's right. You know, throughout the scriptures, we often see an expression like this: sing to Jehovah a new song. And the Bible tells us why new songs were composed and sung, and why we should learn new songs today and sing them. The 98th Psalm in verse 1 gives us a good reason. It says, "Sing to Jehovah a new song, for he has done wonderful things." Now we think about what Jehovah is doing today with his organization. Truly wonderful things he's accomplishing to glorify his name and to help his servants here on earth. And each of us in our personal lives have experienced Jehovah's wonderful things in our lives personally. And not only that, the new songs also reflect a clearer understanding of the Bible, as well as expressing the love that we have for Jehovah and our appreciation for his tender care.
So when we get these new songs, we can think about what Jehovah has done for us personally. That's true. But also, especially what he's doing with the organization now. This should put us in the right frame of mind and heart to really learn the songs. But what if we feel that we're just not as good as the singers on the recordings?
Well, actually, the singers on the recordings, some might be interested to know, very few of those used for vocal renditions have had any professional training or professional experience. So all of them have had to learn to sing better, mainly through practice. And that's comforting for the rest of us. We feel like we may not sing so well, but we all can improve. We all can learn to sing better. And of course, the more you sing, the easier it will become.
Now, some of us hesitate to sing because we feel the notes are a bit too high for us. Would you give us some ideas how we can change the range of our voice and be able to sing these higher notes?
Well, you know, for young people, the range is not a problem, but as we age, unfortunately, like the rest of our bodies, our voices can lose range, like we lose range of motion. So we can regain some of our range by doing a type of stretching with our voice, just as an athlete would stretch before a game or before going for a run. And we can do that very simply by using like a humming sound, maybe in the shower, the kitchen, the car, somewhere you feel comfortable, and just using a humming sound to gently go through your full range of your voice, and then gently pushing the limits of it. And in that way, we can regain and maintain the range of our voice.
So that helps us with the range, but now what about those high notes?
Well, those high notes can be a bit of a challenge, but you know, there are a couple of things we can do that'll really make them easier to produce. One is we need to make sure we take a really good breath before we sing the phrase with the high note in it, because more breath energy makes it much easier to produce a higher note. Also, physiologically, we need more space in the mouth and throat area to make it easier to produce a high note. So we would even see that on the outside when the mouth gets larger, going from a lower note to a higher note. Then it won't feel so tight, and it's easier to produce a higher note.
Good. So those two things are take a deeper, bigger breath for the high notes, and then more space created by the mouth. Good. Well, now how does the composing team help us with some of these high note issues?
Well, the composers do take the musical range of the human voice into account, including the range of unskilled singers. And in a musical composition, in dealing with high notes in particular, there's basically two ways to get up there as a composer. One is to walk your way up there, going up the scale. That's the easier method. Vocally, that's easier to get up there. At times in a composition, there are jumps from low notes to high notes, but there are jumps which are more logical musically, which also makes them more instinctively comfortable for us to sing, even if we're not trained singers. So the compositions have taken these factors into account. And I think two keys here. Number one, what Susan has been talking about is to try and develop our voices a little more. Couple that with learning the song. And if you have those two things in place, high notes are not the issue that maybe you thought they would be.
You know, it sounds like the fundamentals for good singing are basically the same for good public speaking.
Like the instructions we get in the ministry school textbook.
Exactly, you know, maintaining good posture, standing up nice and straight, and being sure to take good deep breaths before speaking.
It's very true that poor posture and shallow breathing are definitely the enemies of good singing. It's just the way that Jehovah created us. Physiologically, we have these tiny little vocal cords, but when we take a good breath and send the air through them, then it resonates through our bones and tissues, and we can produce sound easily.
Good. Thanks, Susan. Good ideas on technique. Now, here's the problem that comes up during our meetings. Sometimes the piano can't be heard. The volume of the piano is not high enough. And when you fill the auditorium with voices, it just drowns the piano out. Now, how can we handle that?
Well, the key to solving that problem is for the brother at the sound console to be listening. Listening not just to the piano volume, but listening also to what you referred to, how the singing is going. For example, if the singers can't stay together, or if they can't stay with the piano recording, they're either ahead of it or behind it, then that's the cue for the sound operator to turn the piano up.
So the operator then has to be free to focus on the sound. Just as when you're driving a car, you have to keep your hand on the wheel and make adjustments to stay on the road.
Yes, I think free for that task is the key word there. The reality is that at the beginning of many of our meeting programs, the brother or brothers in our sound department are trying to multitask with various little things that happen right at the beginning of the program. And this issue of the piano volume sometimes just gets overlooked. So at least one person back there has to be dedicated exclusively at that moment to listening to and adjusting the piano volume.
And this would be especially true whenever a new song is scheduled for a program. We need to be listening to the cues or the music when it's being played. But you know, this doesn't relieve us of the personal responsibility that each of us have to become familiar with the music even ahead of time before going to the meeting. And that way we can be prepared to sing the songs when we arrive.
The same way we prepare for other parts in the meeting.
That's right.
Well, doesn't that just put us right in mind of family worship then? Mm-hmm. Because family worship is where so much meeting preparation is done typically. So, include the music. During family worship, get the songbook out. Turn on the piano recording. Sing along.
Even better, if we can play the piano or if we play guitar, do it live and sing to it live. The simplified chords are up there on jw.org that we can download. But even for social occasions, social gatherings, we can sing the songs. The idea is prepare for this part of our worship with the congregation or even for our assemblies and conventions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, the Faithful Slave has really given us the tools to be well prepared, not only at congregation meetings, but also at these events, the assemblies and conventions. Months ahead of time, the programs are posted on the website. And in those programs are the songs that will be sung at these events. And so we can be well prepared by downloading, as you mentioned, the piano music or the sheet music from jw.org and include that in our preparation for these assemblies.
And you mentioned downloading a number of things, but is that hard to do?
Well, they've tried to make it as simple as possible. On the home page is the Publications tab. You click on that. It brings up a tab on the left side that says Music. You click on that, and all the music products are right there. The MP3s for the vocal renditions, the piano accompaniment, orchestral arrangements. But there's also a tab for the songbook, Sing to Jehovah. If you click on that, there's a PDF tab, and that gives you all the sheet music that you need, including the simplified guitar chords.
Well, you know, Ted, as simple as that sounds, we do understand that many still find navigating websites to be a challenging thing. And at the same time, we know that some of our brothers and sisters still don't own the equipment, the computer equipment, to do their own downloads. This is where the congregation, and in particular the elders and ministerial servants, can take the lead in helping everyone to have these materials. Because as we help each other that way, especially the brothers taking the lead, then this really engenders a spirit of enthusiasm, interest in this feature of our worship.
It seems like we have all the tools that we need then to learn the new songs and be well prepared to sing them at our congregation meetings with the help of the elders, even as brought out here. And it really is important to do that, because some of the songs, besides not knowing the melodies or the words, it also could be written in a particular style that maybe we're not used to singing in. And so when we listen to the music ahead of time, then we can come better familiar, not just with the tune and the words, but also the style in which they are written.
Well, Chris, because you mentioned musical style, this brings up another personal matter, I think, for many of us, and that's how we view music itself. The point here is that it's all too common in this world to just be the product of the entertainment industry with respect to our musical tastes. They're in the business of selling what you might call ear candy. Right. What that means is that anything that just quickly catches the ear and catches on becomes popular. Well, that's a very marketable product, and they make a lot of money selling it. Well, it's kind of like candy that we like to eat when we're children. And we still like it when we grow up, too. But the point is, when we're children, that's kind of all we want. Later on, we have to learn to appreciate and enjoy the foods that are really better for us and the ones that we really need. Well, the music that we use in our worship is kind of like that healthy food. We might not yet have the taste for it, but we need to develop it because it's there to nourish us spiritually.
The governing body wants us all to sing praises to Jehovah. Just like back in King Jehoshaphat's time when the army was going out into battle, they were singing. And the scripture says they were joyfully singing praises to Jehovah. So we want to use all the tools that we have to learn the new songs and just start singing.
Yeah. You know, Ted, I couldn't help but think that scriptural reference, it really indicates that those men were not at all timid about singing praises to Jehovah God. And really that sets a pattern for us today. We should not feel shy or timid about singing at the Kingdom Hall or at any of our meetings praises to Jehovah God. And certainly we have the tools now to learn these new songs and to be just like those ancient Israelites, singing praises to Jehovah with full heart and joy.
What you just said, Chris, really helps to make the point that we should view our singing in worship as we view our prayers. That matter of being timid, well, prayer is not always easy. Even private prayer is not always easy. Sometimes we're praying about something painful or difficult or something that's kind of confusing at the time. So we're struggling for the clear thought. We're struggling even for the words to use in the prayer, even though it's a private prayer. But we still manage to give that prayer to Jehovah because we love him and because we want to continue worshiping him. That's why even people with limited vocabularies can still pray very successfully, very effectively to Jehovah. And maybe that's the way some of us are as singers. We're limited, but that's okay. We still do it, and we're not timid about it. We do it for the same important reasons that we love Jehovah and that we want to worship him this way.
When we get to new songs, we want to be excited about learning them. These new songs express our devotion, our feeling for Jehovah. They also keep us in harmony with the greater understanding of scriptures and, of course, how Jehovah deals with us personally. Now we'll go back to our studio in Brooklyn.
Thank you so much, panel. Your insights have been most helpful. We recommend that you viewers replay that discussion again before the service meeting for the week of January 5th.